Mic check, it's time for in the trenches. Bucks battles, tales from the benches. No fluff, straight edge defenses. Buccaneer talk, breaking down the fences.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to In the Trenches. First,
that was a video. It wasn't even the thing.
Talk?
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Welcome back to In the Trenches. First, let's take care of business. I got to send love out to Manny and Gordon. That's my people.
You know,
Some lawyers want to look like superheroes on a billboard, but which lawyers are regarded as superheroes in the courtroom? Trust the expertise of board certification. Call Manny and Gordon or visit us at fightnegligence.com.
All right, and welcome back. Welcome back to In the Trenches. It's been a while. Took the off season off a little bit. A lot of things were going on, so I got a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about basically the expectations of our Buccaneers this year. This is a team won 3 straight division titles. I'm not the kind of guy to sit here and go, the Bucs are going to go 11-6 or the Bucs are going to go 12-5. That's just not my personality. I don't like to do that. I'm going to say this though. I think it's been a while since the Buccaneers have gone into a season with expectations anywhere as high as they have right now. Because right now, I hear people talking about, well, the Bucs are underrated and the Bucs are this and that. The Bucs are not going to get overlooked by anybody in 2025. It ain't going to happen. No way. Not with the Bucs have established football players at established positions. First and foremost, we got to talk about Baker Mayfield, obviously. Even going into last year, Baker Mayfield wasn't the man. He wasn't. He came off of a good season before, really, I joke about him coming off the trash heap, but he literally came off the trash heap. And 2 years ago, he had a good season. Last year, he didn't have a good season. Last year, he was the best football player in the Buccaneers team. Period. So, how many years has it been until you're going into a season not worrying about the quarterback? Even Tom Brady's first year, you had to still worry about him getting into a new system and whether he was going to be the same player. Obviously, he lived up to expectations, but there's no question marks about our quarterback going into the season, and there's only a dozen teams in the NFL that can say that, and we're one of them. The Bucs, and I don't know if I've ever said this before on In the Trenches, and I've been on for over a dozen years, I believe. The Bucs have a top 5 offensive line. And it's not because I say it, it's because they are. They're really good. It's a team that blocks well on the run, on the pass. They've been a good pass blocking team for a while, but the last couple of years, they've been toting the pill. And they're starting to get that mentality. And, going into a season with an offensive coordinator, and listen, this is going to be Baker's 5th offensive coordinator, I think. If you don't think that's a big deal, it is. But, Josh Grizzard has a lot of the same, terminology and a system that Liam Cohen had. So it's not going to be foreign, okay? It's going to be familiar. And familiarity breeds success. I hope you know that. For a player to run into another system and have to relearn a system, and I did it a couple times, it ain't as easy as it looks, all right? Every system has different terminologies. They read things differently. And for it to become like the back of your hand, it doesn't happen in the first year. But I don't see there being as many changes as there would if there was a completely different coordinator in here. But, I really haven't got a chance to talk about the Bucs draft picks, and I'm not the type of guy to go, well, I think this guy's going to, because I have no idea, because nobody has any idea. Nothing is more inexact than an NFL draft. I know there was questions or question marks over why Emeka Ogbuka from Ohio State got picked first, and the answer is because he's a great football player. He was the best football player available at that time. And I don't care if you have a bigger need for a defensive back. I don't care if you have a bigger need for a pass rusher. what happens is they rate players, and if Ibuka is way up here and the next best DB is here, the next best pass rusher is down a little bit, they're still going to pick the best player, because after the first 20 picks, usually, everybody else is kind of jumbled into a big pile. Like, you could give you 4 or 5 offensive tackles that are probably going to be good offensive tackles. Everybody else is kind of just piled up. So if you don't get one of those top guys, you could wait a round or two, and you can probably fall into one of these players, just like a lot of teams do. Everybody thinks that your team is made up of first rounders. No, your team is made up of fourth rounders, fifth rounders, free agents. That's what the majority of your team is made up of. So the one thing that's wonderful about our guy Mika is he's going to walk into a wide receiver room that's chock full of talent, first of all, chock full of leadership. And when you talk about development, nobody's going to expect too much out of him this year. Let's hope we don't need too much out of him this year. That means that Mike Evans stayed healthy, and that means that Chris Godwin came back as a pretty darn good football player. Now, when you talk about rookies, expectations can't be sit there, start, be great for 17 games. It doesn't usually work that way. Just to play 17 games is tough enough, but to stay healthy and to be that guy for 17 weeks is a tough thing. I started 16 weeks my rookie year. I don't really know how I did it. And it probably wasn't all that pretty going through it, but I was on a bad football team that was developing me, and I was able to suck and it not be bad because everybody around me was sucking. So I became a better player going forward. Now, Ibuka, even if he's a number 3 wide receiver, he's going to be in there learning, and it's going to be about the future. And even in week 6, there's going to be a time we're going to need Ibuka to be the man, okay, this year, because Mike Evans and Chris Godwin are not going to this season unscathed. No way. It's not going to happen, okay? Mike Evans is not in that juncture of his career to go through the season not getting beat up. He's going to get beat up. So Ibuka's going to have to step forward and do a little something. Now, going back to Josh Grizzard, who was our next offensive coordinator, I watched a lot of YouTube videos, and I saw a video of him, and they were filming him, and I like his attitude first and foremost. He breaks them up by, let's be the number 1 offense in the NFL. Now, you can't be the number 1 offense in the NFL unless you have that mindset. And I like the fact that he's bringing that up. I brought up familiarity is important, and I think most of the players know the terminology. They know how to break down, different coverages in this offense, which I think is important. And the thing is, Josh Grizzard, you can have the best offensive mind in the world, but calling plays is an art. It's hard to just jump into the league and be brilliant at calling the plays. It's just like playing chess. So your first year, 5th year, 10th year, it's going to be easier. It's not going to be like second nature. This is different now when you're calling plays. And there's an art to it, defensively and offensively. And I'm going to say this to Josh, and I think you know this because you've been around football a long time. Running the football makes calling the plays easy. If you can run the football. If you call the plays for the Detroit Lions, I'll tell you how it's going to work. Run left, run right, 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, 3rd and 3. That's how they play. Just 4th and 1, we're going for it because we have a great offensive line, and we play aggressive. So if you can run the football, it makes a lot of people's lives easier. Now, every one of the Buccaneers' offensive players returned this year. All of the starters. It could be good or bad, but you're coming off a season where Baker Mayfield was top 5 in most categories, and the Bucs' offense was top 5 in a lot of the categories, okay? A lot of the categories. So I think you got to feel good about them all coming back. You always want some change because you can get better, but you're not messing with it. It ain't broke. Now, I think the Buccaneers offensively are walking into this 2025 season as confident as anybody else in the NFL football. I really believe that. Defensively, I don't think it's the same. Now, it's not all rosy offensively. I think the question mark got to be, once again, Chris Godwin's health, Mike Evans's age, We need to get more from our tight ends. Kate Otten was great in the first 6 games, and then he leveled out. Didn't hear his name much in the back end, and we need more from our tight ends. Bucky Irvin, talent-wise, electricity-wise, top-notch. Now we're going to see if he's an everyday back. Those are not the same thing. Having to pick up blitzes, you can't pick up blitzes. The other team's watching. They're going to see how tough you are real early. We're going to see if his body can endure 25 totes a game. We have Rashad backing him up now, and Rashad's going to play a big part. He just is, and he has been. Now, defensively, if we put out the same team we had last year defensively, we won't go to the Super Bowl. We weren't good enough, okay? We weren't. I think we were good enough offensively, but defensively, our pass rush has to be better, period. Inside, outside, period, has to be better. We need more big plays. I think they had 7 interceptions in 2024. That ain't good enough. The stars have to emerge. Antoine Winfield Jr., you can say he was banged up, but that doesn't matter. At the end of the year, did you make a lot of plays? He didn't make a lot of plays last year. Levante David is omnipresent. You got to make more plays. Jamel Dean is a guy who's an up and down guy. We got to make more plays, period, as an offense, as a defense. Now, that comes with the pass rush and the lack of the pass rush. The pass rush gets you interceptions. Interceptions aren't created by defensive backs. They're created by pass rushes and quarterbacks throwing the ball before they want to, all right? Our linebackers have to get better in coverage, including Levante David. I think that's one thing we didn't do great. And our defensive backs have to stay healthy. They weren't all that healthy last year. And obviously the third part is special teams. And we've been fair to Midland the last few years in special teams. I can't think of anything great. I mean, you can make a few plays here and there, but I think it's a coin toss for special teams. You can be great in special teams, and that could bring you a long damn way. And maybe that's something we have coming forward. Now, there's some players need to step up for me. And this doesn't mean they're not good football players, because if I say you have to step up, that means my expectations for you are extremely high. Jalen McMillan just needs to take the next step. I think you've been fine to this point. I just want to see you take the next step. Kalijah Cansey, I see signs of greatness, but I don't see it enough. I think your development is going the way it should go. Now it's time to take it to the next level. Warren Sapp, his first year, he was almost silent. Second year started to make a lot of noise, and by the third year, you could not hear his name. I believe this is Kalijah's third year. It's time now. It's time for you to start taking over some games. You're making plays, but it's time to take over some games. Kate Otten, I mentioned earlier, Kate Otten can't disappear for half a season. I don't know if it was physical, mental, I don't know, but he just wasn't the same player than the back end. Yaya Diaby, we just heard his name a lot last year. Wasn't enough plays. I like the way he plays. He plays hard, but we just need more plays out of you. Cody Mock, the right guard. I'm okay with his development. But if you talk about a weak link, he would be the weak link right now at the right guard. I'm not saying he's bad. I think he's an okay football player. But there's got to be a weak link, and right now it's probably Cody Mock. He has some up and down games. He finds himself in mismatches every once in a while, and that happened. It happened to me too. He's got to improve a little bit. And Vita Vea is one of our better players, but I still think there's a level for him still. There's still a level of coming up for Vita Vea because there's a lot of unblockable in him, and I don't see that enough. When I see somebody's unblockable, then be unblockable all the time. And it's kind of an up and down thing, and maybe this is a year, maybe it's a health thing, but it's time for him to take it to the next level as well. Now, the 2025 training camp starts on the 24th. I believe the rookies report July 21st. Veterans will report to July 22nd. There's 9 open practices. I think only 3 of them are available to the general public. And it's all there at the Advent Health Training Center at 1 Buccaneer Place. It's one of those years that, it scares me when I'm optimistic, because I'm usually more half empty because I'm a realist, okay? I'm not the person, our Bucs are going to be great. I'm never that guy. I could see our Bucs being a good football team this year. I don't know if I said that last year. And listen, the last few years, all you have to do is be 9-8, and you figured out a way to win the South. But when you look at Carolina Panthers and the New Orleans Saints and the Atlanta Falcons, between those three teams, you tell me which one's on the upswing that you would bet your house is going to compete this year. I don't see it in any of them, to be honest with you. I think Atlanta's so overrated. I think that's just a team for people to talk about. Carolina won 3 games. Everybody's like, oh, look at Carolina. And look at their quarterback. He still don't look like he's the part to me. And, you know, New Orleans, New Orleans hasn't been it in the last couple of years, okay? Since Peyton left and since Breeze is gone, they haven't really competed in a while. So I don't even know who the Saints quarterback is, but he ain't worth a crap. So it's good news and bad news. It's about the same Buccaneers team going into 25. I think that's the good news. To some people, it's the bad news. Same coach. You know, Todd Bowles and Jason Light just got an extension. I think that's good for the organization. I think they're both doing a fantastic job. And we go from here. It's hard to be good year after year, and these guys are figuring out a way to be good, and that's sometimes enough to be good. Now, let's see if we can take it to that next level like I asked for some of these players out there. Once again, one love to Manny and Gordon, and we're here in the bowels of Dignitary Cafe, and we serve the best kava and kratom in the area, so come check us out. And we have a room that's 420 friendly as well, so that always bodes well. So I hope everybody has a wonderful week. I'll be in here every single week within the trenches now because it's football season, and the bloods are starting to circulate a little bit. So I hope everybody has a wonderful week.